All right, so welcome everyone to our deep dive with Charlotte Moss. Charlotte is an interior designer and tastemaker extraordinaire, as we all know. I mean, I think anyone who's joining today knows how well she does just about everything. So I feel really privileged to have you today, Charlotte. I think you've really perfected the art of living well, and one of the things that we're here to discuss today, the title of the seminar is called Decorate for Success, but it's really about how do you set your clients up for success after you've done your decorating. And I know that you put a lot of thought into that, and you love doing that for your clients and making sure that their home is not just a beautiful place to live, but someplace that really functions. So that's what we're here to discuss, and I know you're going to have lots of exciting and interesting things to talk about. So maybe I'll just dive in and ask you, so when you set up to do a house, where do you start and what do you think about and what are your priorities?
Oh, I answered this question some time ago about, do you start with the rug? And the answer was no. We start with a conversation. Just like we're going to have the deep dive today, we do the deep dive with our client. It's the old John Fowler, Nancy Lancaster. You've got to understand the minutia of life. Otherwise, how can you decorate for someone where you don't understand whether or not they eat their breakfast in the dining room, the breakfast room, the kitchen counter, or in bed? You have to ask these questions. So for me, it's really about that initial conversation and the right questions to ask. And sometimes it gets a little personal and people don't know where it's going, but I always assure them that in the end, it'll make a house work better the more honest they are with me. But then I think, Dara, in that conversation, that as you pursue that conversation, and it may be the second time you get together, that images, I think, are incredibly helpful for people to be able to just sort of point and shoot and say what's great. What we're really looking for is eliciting emotion. I'm looking to elicit emotion so I can get that response, that excitement, read their eyes, and know how to direct my conversation. It really has nothing to do with anything, furniture, fabric, it's emotion.
So do you mean the finished product is emotion or the conversations that you have in advance?
Oh, I think it's both. I mean, if I don't get a great emotion on installation day, when you do your walkthrough, then I think you have a problem, but I think you would have known long before then. I think if you start there, you'll end there. I really believe that.
Okay, so you drill your clients, or maybe drill isn't the right word, but you really interview them and you take what they say seriously and you work it into your schemes and all of that.
Yeah, I think you have to, because look how much money is being spent and invested in all of this. So I think you're obliged to do it as a professional.
Okay. So when you have all of that information, is there a room that you typically start with, or is it the room that is most important to them? How does that work?
Well, sometimes it sort of bubbles up in the conversation. So then you just take that thread and you run with it. But, every once in a while, there'll be someone that says, let's just say someone has a picture of a bathroom that's totally mirrored. Well, then that you've got somebody that's ready to sort of go for glam. Mm-hmm. And so that tells you something. Someone says they want their house painted all white. That's another message. So you just have to pick up on that messaging, I think. And it could start with the master bedroom. It could start with the dining room. It really doesn't matter to me, but somewhere in there, you're going to get a feeling for where it's going. And then you just have to, go with your instinct and, pick up the cookie crumbs, as they say, and follow the path.
Right. So I've been very lucky. I've been invited to your house. I had one of the most, it was the night of that New York City blizzard that we were completely
Oh,
unprepared for.
God, you are such a star to even make it. I can't
Oh,
believe.
incredible. But you made it. I mean, it was so beautiful. I can't think of a nicer place to be. Your house is so well appointed and everything is beautiful wherever you look, you know, whether it's the curtains or the art or I mean, you set the most exquisite table. I think you, as I said, have really perfected the art of living well. So in terms of your clients, I mean, I'm sure some of them are very sophisticated and refined, but they must also learn from you. So what are the things that you think, like if you say, I've succeeded if I've taught them this, what are some of those things?
If I've succeeded, what was that?
If I've taught them this, or if they came away with this, or
You know, well, I think you always want to teach your clients that patience is a virtue, especially in this business when the lead times can be sometimes extraordinarily long. So you have to remind them of that. I think understanding value, how to spend money for value, sometimes waiting, not just spending to spend to fill a gap, but really to invest the money in things with good value, and keep a sense of humor, you know, through the whole process. I think if you don't have that, I think you can really get yourself in a twist. I think a sense of humor will really get you through the day. I mean, that's what my mother taught me, and that's what I've had to try to live my life.
well, I'm sure they feel incredibly, you know, safe with you. Like you have a way, I mean, I think because you know so much, you know, they must feel very confident in you're leading the way, you know.
But I think we challenge each other, Dara, you know, I mean, I feel it's my job to sort of push an envelope, give them opportunities to get outside their comfort zone, to see how far they're willing to stretch, and then to understand limits. At the same time, I'm learning that whole time, all the time, and I'm saying this to my staff, the most important thing you can do in any relationship is listen.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen. Listen to their words and listen to what's between the words, because sometimes that's the biggest reveal.
Right. And that's what will make them happy ultimately, right? Yeah. There's no point in fighting with them if you're.
Oh, no, none of that.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've learned from your clients, whether that's about running a household or you know, big life takeaways? Are there things that you've learned from them?
Well, I think the most important thing is that everyone's different, and that while we may decorate within a certain style, we have to adapt for the needs of those clients. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is you just can't superimpose a program, if you will, on people. They're all different, and you have to learn to bob and weave. That's going to be, I think, really important through the process. I mean, I don't care whether it's you're dealing with children, you know, how you have to bob and weave with children. You have to do it with clients. You have to do it in business situations. We all have to learn how to be flexible, nimble, and to listen.
Okay. So you spend a lot of time after you finish the house or maybe toward the end of the project, really making sure that it all runs properly, right? You told me about a book that you create for your clients about.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most critical, I'm not in this business. Let me just say why I'm in this business. One, I love it. I love the challenge of an empty room and making it come to life and seeing a smile on someone's face. You know, as long as I've been doing it now, 35 years, I still, you know, get that rush when that all happens. But I think it's really important that people enjoy their house after you've gone. I mean, you know, installation day is a big day. You do the walkthrough, you know, the music is on, the flowers are there, No, the scented candles are burning. I mean, the whole thing, the stage is set. And you don't want them waking up the next morning and go, now what? You know, you want them to, I always like my clients to plan a party because I think that really is like breaking in the shoes. It really lets people relax, you know, drop their shoulders and truly enjoy their house. So all along, and as a critical part of the decorating process, just because of the way, maybe it's because of the way I live, I don't know what it is, but it's important that the notepad is next to the phone. So why can't that notepad be attractive? Whether it's the monogram, a drawing of the house, maybe it's just the address, something that sort of sets it apart, that looks like you took that level of detail all the way through to the end. It's the beautiful embroidered hand towels in the main powder room, so you receive your guest in a beautiful, welcoming sort of way. Setting your tables. I'm thinking about those things the entire time I'm decorating. And sometimes I'm doing those things before I finished the furniture and the curtains and everything else, because I don't see it as a sequential process. I see it all part and parcel.
Okay.
So
we're going to launch into some slides, and I'm going to have you talk about some of the special touches that you've done, particularly with the service areas of the house. But before we do that, do you ever go so far as to plan your clients' parties for them?
I've assisted, but I don't do party planning.
Okay.
You know, most clients have someone that they rely on for that kind of thing.
Okay. So do you mind if we launch into the slides now?
Sure.
So I think maybe it's just nice if you talk about, you know, your intention in some of these interiors and some of the, you know, what we're looking at.
Well, do you want to go through them quickly and I'll just talk fast like I normally do?
So this obviously is a beautiful library.
It's a library that we put together for a client who has a magnificent art collection. And we were putting together monographs on various artists for him for his collection. So we worked with Kinsey Marable Private Libraries to put some of those together. This is another library of another client who already had an extraordinary book collection. We just had to design the room around it and just prayed that our decorating was going to keep up the quality of that library.
That's so cool.
That's just another view going back into the library.
So this is the client who already had the great collection.
Yes. But like I designed that library table and we had it made so it would house all of his folio editions.
Okay, but say someone doesn't have a library, you work with an outside company to help outfit the library?
Yeah, if they want to build a library, you know, and there's a difference, you know, it's kind of like a room with bookshelves is not necessarily a library. So there are clients that really want to build libraries based on their interest, whether it was the monographs of that art collection, or if it was lifestyle or fashion, you know, whatever it is. I've worked with Kinsey on a number of libraries. And then sometimes people just want great collections of books, and I may do that myself.
Okay, so, but you try to make it authentic, right? It's not just like you're buying books, because some designers—
No, we don't do books by the yard. That's not my thing. Yeah. First of all, I'm a voracious reader. I have several libraries of my own. I don't understand people that don't read. So anyway, I guess I'll just put that out there and take the blowback from it. But I love working with people that have a specific interest and want to pursue it. It's another challenge. It's the hunt. It suits my curiosity. It suits a lot of things that I'm interested in. And so it's a great partnership. And that's what I love.
But your reading sets you apart. I mean, it's your intellect. I mean, it's not like you're just, I mean, I think you have a very intellectual approach to what you do. And I applaud it. I mean, I think it's really, you stand, you stand apart from a lot of people because of that. So thank you for that.
Well, I hope that's not a euphemism for overthinking.
No, definitely not. I mean, I love that about you. Okay, what's next, Annie?
Oh, the linen closets. Oh, yes. I love it when they're all organized. We have put labels on the shelves. So here's the thing, Dara. You know, you could say that we're OCD, and a lot of decorators are OCD when it comes to this thing, but I do think it all gets into that living conversation, that I want that linen closet to be in close proximity to the rooms that it needs to service. I want it to be clear what goes into what room. And since most of those clients have housekeepers, you want the housekeeper to be the star of the house. You want them to be able to know what goes where, how it's done, so that they can do a really good job. I mean, I have just seen the smiles on people's faces when they know that they have done a great job for their employer. And so we just detail it like this, make it look attractive. It's their world. It's background for the client, but the really important for the staff to also know where things should go.
So do you meet with the staff?
Yes, usually what I do is a walkthrough with the staff after we've done the exciting part with the client. Maybe the next day I'll walk through with the staff, and we'll talk about things like, don't strangle the curtains with the tie backs. They've got a gentle drop, and you finesse them and you show them that, so that they don't like pull them back tight and they look all constricted. Yeah, we do all sorts of walkthroughs depending on what the client wants and how complex their lifestyle is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for each of those labels that you did, it was basically you would write the room, like
You would write the rooms that everything goes to.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is a pantry. I love doing pantries. I bought everything in that pantry for the client, and we collected it over a long period of time. They wanted several sets of china, and one of which was a blue and white. There's some other pictures that come up later of some china that we actually created and had painted for them. These are trompe l'oeil vegetables and fruits that I bought in France for the most part, and putting together a collection for them.
Okay, so you will assemble collections for them. And
Oh,
then
yeah, I think that's one of the most exciting parts about decorating, Dara, is that when you can excite someone about something, or even if you just show them pictures and they get excited, and then you start to accumulate it, they get interested, they ask questions, you give them information, and before you know it, they've got a collection. Like, we bought everything in that cabinet, but I bought a lot of it with them shopping, and then I filled in the gaps.
so it sounds like you really fuel their enthusiasm, which is so important. And
I think that's part of our job.
yeah, you educate them.
Right. I mean, I put myself in their shoes. I always joke, when I come back in my next life, I'm coming back as the client, because I think that's part of our job.
So if you're young and you don't kind of have the confidence maybe to tell, a client what to do, like what would you advise a younger designer in terms of helping guide their clients, because I think it takes a level of authority, somebody who feels confident in their abilities. Like, you know what I'm asking you? Like, how would you tell a young designer to navigate that situation?
I think you've got to know what your limits are. I think because when you try to explain something to someone, your knowledge and your authenticity is either going to be right there on the table or it's not. So you've got to know what your own limits are. But that all goes back to doing your homework. And, you can do a lot of homework and get yourself up to speed in order to advise your clients. This picture actually here was copper countertop cabinets that we started a flower room for a client. So she had a place to arrange her flowers because She loves doing it for her own house. But anyway, I think it's really understanding what you know and what you don't know. And I think that's one of the most important things in life, is to understand what you don't know. And if you don't know it, you just say, I don't know, but I will find out.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's so simple, but it's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that takes confidence to just admit that you don't know something. You know, a lot of people aren't confident enough to do that, but you've just given everyone permission. So,
well, take it for what it's worth. What can I say?
yeah, it's great.
Oh, this is all part of enjoying things. We did a family room where they were going to watch all their movies. And we did a little teeny room off of that that's got a refrigerator and a counter and a popcorn maker. And that's where they watch movies.
It's fun.
So we just made it, I mean, really, what was it? Striped plastic receptacles for popcorn and some napkins with a movie projector on it.
But you made it
yeah, puts a smile on your face.
Yeah.
So this is when I do get OCD, Dara, just, truth be known. I will stand on a ladder for hours, putting together combinations of china, silver, linens, crystal, glassware, whatever, to put together as many what I call beautiful and acceptable combinations, to photograph them and put them in a book. I think that's what gives people confidence. They don't have to worry about it. They just know that that's a combination that works. And also it goes back to the staff thing. You want your staff to feel like they're heroes for putting it together for you in the right way. And everybody's happy then. Staff feels great, client feels great. She didn't have to do it, but she knows that we blessed it and it works. And I love doing it. I mean, I get a lot of joy out of that.
Well, which is one of the reasons you've had your shops, right? I mean, your shops are beyond in terms.
I think you just have it in your blood. So we just photograph everything. We create a little pretty book for them. We put together all the combinations. And then after that, as they say, it's all in the hands of Jesus. Somebody's got to do it at home after we leave,
So pretty. So these are just all different variations, right?
Yeah, this is one client and a lot of her variations.
So fun.
Nothing complicated, just things that work. That's all. And you'll see there's a lot of white china here. So it just goes to show that, white has a very, very big life in terms of its possibilities.
Right.
I think you got probably more there than you need, but anyway.
All the same house, right? Just
all the same house, yeah. So this was another client. And the reason I included this photo, this was installation. I just set up a few table settings for them. We went shopping one time in New York, and both of them got so excited about some china we found, but they didn't have enough. We were at Bardeth, and going to Bardeth is like going to a candy store. I mean, it's amazing. So we found two patterns that they really loved. And he said, oh, but they don't have enough, whatever. And I said, never fear. We have someone in Paris that paints china, and she will create a whole service around this. So that's what we did with one service. And then another one, we bought the plates, and we bought a tureen, but I had her paint more cash pose and other accessory pieces to go with it. So, there are ways that if you find something you like, there is a way to make it work, even if it's not enough.
Right. That's incredible.
Yeah, and it was great. And I just have the right person I've been working with for years to paint china.
That's a nice find.
Mm-hmm.
Good person to have in your pocket.
So that was the reference I made earlier to, being ready for guests all the time, and having beautiful towels there waiting in the powder room. So for a man that reads all the time, I found this little thing, you know, his house man puts the newspapers in there for him, or he puts them in, whoever is charged with doing it. Simple thing, but his newspapers are there where he wants them.
Yeah.
And a passion of this is the same client in Texas. I gave him a book on the birds of Texas. And I said, let's do a collection of paintings of your favorite birds. And so he selected them, and we worked with Bob Christian, and we did all different frames and different sizes of all his favorite birds of Texas. So it's a whole gallery of birds in a staircase between the first and the second floor.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Well, you know, here's the thing. It's one thing to come up with an idea. It's another thing to have a client who just says, yeah, let's go for it, you know, and then everybody's fired up, you know, everybody's fired up when a client responds enthusiastically like that. And that is really part of what I was saying in the very beginning about that emotion and that enthusiasm. It's what fuels the whole process of decorating.
Yeah.
Is that enthusiasm. Just like this is the gym. So I know he loves a certain place in the Bahamas. So I said, let's make the gym a place where he can just mentally escape to that place. And we did it, made it feel tropical.
That's fun. That's really fun. Very thoughtful. But I guess it comes back to your interviews, right?
Comes back to the interviews, but also having a great client with a great sense of humor and a willingness to let us have hand to do certain things. I mean, that really is a very big part of this. So this is actually my own house. I've worked with Paul Vogel at the Vogel Boundary for years, and Paul does beautiful leather things for us. For our clients, and I'll go through some of these examples, but it's wonderful to be able to do really bespoke things. So in this case, on my dinner table is a leather box that's filled with note cards. So if I get an idea in the middle of dinner, I can jot it down because, you know, you just can't remember everything. And so that stays on the dinner table all the time.
Interesting. Okay.
And then a table seating chart that he personalized for me.
Wow. Okay.
So I put all my place cards on there. And then he's done Paul has done so many journals and my scrapbooks. He does all of my leather scrapbooks for my collages and my travel. And this is just another example of something he's personalized for me.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And the little leather portfolio that goes next to each little teeny thing goes next to each telephone with how to get on the Wi-Fi and how to call from room to room. So a guest never has to worry about how to function in their room.
That's fabulous. It's like a hotel.
Well, you know, it's got to work. You know, it's a hotel's got to work.
Yeah.
And a lot of big houses are like small businesses. So they do have to function like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's done custom leather place card holders with motifs on them. And in this case, for my client, he did a big visitor's book, and we had a drawing made of the front of the house, and he embossed it in gold on the cover of the visitor's book. So every time they have a party, people can sign in.
Yeah. It's amazing to me that you can still find people who make this kind of thing. I always think of you when we had our dinner. It was in honor of, what is the wonderful woman who makes the sugar flowers?
Oh gosh, yes. She came from
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Yes.
Yeah, but I see you as having a salon of sorts. I mean, you're such an incredible advocate for craftspeople, and you're keeping a lot of people alive, which is really
Well,
great.
I think that one, I enjoy working with them and I learn so much from them, but also I think it's the details in in our business, how all of us as designers choose to distinguish ourselves in our work, but also to create that totally bespoke environment, A to Z, in a household. So these are my scrapbooks. He's done dozens of these for me, for my travel and gardens that I've seen and women in my life, etc.
Beautiful. So when I was in New Orleans, when I was still the editor-in-chief of Veranda, and I was in New Orleans, it was probably like 8 years ago, I photographed this amazingly beautiful house. And it was a young couple. They were like in their late 30s, early 40s. And I went to set the table for the photo shoot. And I said, you know, can I look at your china to see what we can use? And they said, oh, well, we got rid of all of it. You know, we have nothing left. And all they had were plain white dishes, you know, from like Crate and Barrel. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, they just were, it was so different than what I was expected, and so surprised on a lot of levels, but also because it was, you know, a couple from the South, and you always think of Southerners really like appreciating all these old things that they inherited. So, I mean, the world has gotten more and more casual. So do you think there's still room? Like, how do you get young people interested in all of this stuff?
Well, I think it goes back to that conversation about finding out their comfort zone in certain areas. I mean, some people just don't want to go there. I think there's a way to figure out how to start them, like with that white china. I think the most important thing is that it doesn't matter if they had 100 white plates. If that gives them joy, great. Mm-hmm. The last thing you want is a bunch of stuff that makes you anxious.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
gives you anxiety. You know, you saw those white plates. We made it happen with the coral and the blue and the aqua. There's so many ways to go. So it's really what gives you joy. And then if you have to take baby steps, I think a lot of people that throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to those things will circle back sometimes. And if they don't, it's fine. It's whatever works for you. Who's to judge, you know? I personally don't understand it because I have more china than, oh my God, way more than, you know, than I really need. But, you know, I've gotten it from all different places over a long period of time, and I use the heck out of it. I love having people at home, and I love doing the table. That's me, but it just may not work with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I have to understand what makes them happy and relaxed and anxious.
Right. That's very interesting, the whole anxiety idea. So, and it goes back to comfort, right? Feeling at home.
It all goes back to that. I mean, I think of all the people that I've learned from that are dead and gone. You learn about comfort listening to that Nancy Lancaster, you know, talk about comfort. I've learned by studying people like Mongiardino about how to layer. I love Billy Baldwin's restraint, and every once in a while I have to remind myself that restraint is a very good thing. You know, you learn from all different kinds of places. And I learned from Mario, you know, may he rest in peace. He was one of the first decorators to come into my first store, and we had a long relationship. And I learned from him to stick to your guns about what you're good at. You don't have to morph into something because everybody else is. You just do what you do, and to have a sense of humor, because he had a great one.
Yeah, he really did.
He really had, and he loved what he did. You know, it made him crazy sometimes, and he made us crazy, but we loved him for it. So you learn different things from different people.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So besides your own incredible books, are there any other books that you'd recommend for someone just, wanting to learn more about either design or running a house well?
Gosh, that's probably a conversation in itself, Dara, about what are the baseline books that every decorator should have in their library. Um, and Mario Praz, Cornforth and Fowler, and so many great books. There aren't too many books out there about running a house, and I think Martha Stewart's probably done the best and maybe the only really broad, really broad book about every detail in the house. There are other little things. We have a whole collection of little books we put together for a client, but that's a good one.
So those Mario Praz books, I was turned on to them by Peggy Kennedy, when I first started my
Yes,
career in magazines, and they are incredible. I mean,
they are incredible.
yeah, yeah. I feel fortunate to have those. And I look at them all the time, and you get inspired, window treatments and.
Right. But you are also fortunate to have a boss mentor who suggested those kind of things to you, that
Yes.
you can go off on your own time and learn. And that's really important too, that I think we all take the time to share information.
Mhm. Right. It was interesting because I heard the other day, somebody suggested that you have to choose your mentor, which I never really thought of, right? I mean, I don't know, but you almost have to go after your mentor, which I thought was such great advice. Like, who do you
Yeah,
want?
I think a lot of those people sitting out there that are willing to mentor would be flattered to be chosen to have that opportunity. But again, I think that's people's reluctance to ask, because they're scared to show someone that they don't know something. But again, I think that is strength of character, is being able to own up to what you know what you don't know,
Mhm.
and you're willing to do what's necessary to figure it out.
Right, right. And that's important too.
Really important.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's so important because there are a lot of people who don't. And I think more and more so, people don't want to read, they don't want to do their homework, it's, can be very superficial. But that does make the people who really do their homework stand out, I think.
Well, I think that's the same in any business.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So tell us about your new project that you're working on, the new book.
Oh gosh. I'm actually got more books right now than I
Oh, there's
need,
more than one?
but
That I didn't know.
I'm working on a book for Rizzoli for spring on flowers that is basically driven by women, where flowers were an integral part of their life. And so that'll be a spring book.
That's fun.
And then I'm working on a book which will benefit No Kid Hungry for fall of 21, that is based on a book that Edith Wharton wrote called The Book of the Homeless, that she wrote in World War I when she was doing war relief work in France. And I just decided the time was right to do that book with what's going on now. And hunger is going to be, hunger is a very critical, I mean, it's even sad to even talk about statistics in this country when it comes to hunger, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer right now, but I felt like I had a chunk of time to use this summer to get this effort going, and it has been an incredible summer, I will say. I've worked with some architects, friends of mine, and two editors that I adore and respect. And they put together a great list, and we're almost fully subscribed. So it's going to be a very interesting book, a collection of photography, watercolors, paintings, poems, short stories, some very poignant. The home, and the theme is home, however you want to interpret home was the mandate for this book. And some beautiful, beautiful things have come our way so far. So I'm very excited about that. But all the proceeds will go to No Kid Hungry, and Rizzoli is going to publish it for us.
It's so beautiful. That's really wonderful. So it's just people have volunteered to make art for the book, and then
Yeah, I mean, we've gone to them, and some people it's an easy ask, and some people I've been after all summer, and some I'm still waiting on, got my fingers and toes crossed. So
who are you excited about? I mean, I'm sure you're excited about all of them, but tell us.
I'm really excited about all of them. I mean, what's beautiful about something like this, Dara, is it gives so many people, over 100 people, the opportunity to do whatever they want related to the theme, through whatever their sort of lens and point of view is, whether it's a watercolor or it's that essay that they've always wanted to write. And everyone does what they're good at and brings their passion to it. So it's been a great project. We still have work to do, but I feel really good about it.
It's so exciting. Well, I can't wait to see it. And as I said, we're happy to promote it for you in any way we can. So
thank you.
Yeah. So we have a few questions. So what was the name of the store in New York City? So it's Bardith, Bardith, but is it still there?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. And it's been there for a really long time. It has incredible.
There's nothing like their collection.
Okay. Next is, what is the name of the leather vendor who is making the books?
It's the Vogel Bindery, Vogel, and Paul Vogel is, the owner of the business, and his wife Abby works with him. You can just go on his website.
And someone says, I love that visitor's book. You think of absolutely everything.
We get paid to.
We'll hear a couple of more. Charlotte, I can't see the paintings on your back wall very well, but I think I see an Indian miniature. Do you have any?
Oh, I do have an Indian miniature, but it's at my office. It's funny. There's no Indian miniature here. I have an Indian miniature of a group of women celebrating during the Diwali festival that I bought when I was there. Which I wonder which one looks like an Indian miniature. Huh. Anyway.
Okay. Next is, can you say again the last name of Mario?
Mario Buatta, Buatta. Buy that book. Emily Erdman's. It's a fabulous book.
Love your great, good energy, Charlotte. Always appreciate your endless inspiration.
Thank you.
And the name of the books you referenced. So it was Mario Praz, P-R-A-Z.
Right. And Fowler and John Cornforth. There's so many books. So many books. God. I don't know where to begin.
All right. What are the China patterns that you love, and what is the design? I don't know. What are the China patterns you love?
There's not just one. I mean, I love blue and white, and I have a lot that goes with blue and white. So I'm always, changing up. I have some beautiful Isnik plates that I love. I love that pattern. I've got some great Janori, my hand painted china that comes from France not one particular thing. I think it really depends on what kind of mood you're in that day you're in a store and what flips your switch, so to speak,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience. Maria Elena from Uruguay. Do you know her?
No. Hello.
What is a good stemware line to use as a base?
Oh, as a base. If you're looking for stemware for wine and everything else, you really can't go wrong with Riedel as a basic, clean, not etched, not decorated at all, just clean and simple. And I love William Yoward.
Yeah.
William Yoward has, to me, hands down, the best crystal out there. From the country line, which is very simple, which I would recommend highly for that sort of unornamented sort of pattern, to the things that are etched. He just knocked it out of the park from the very beginning.
He really did. He did. I remember when that line came out. It's such a shame that he's not with us anymore.
It is indeed. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for supporting so many craftsmen and being an eloquent spokesperson for them. So nice. We all love rich looking window treatments. Any suggestions for doing luxe on a budget?
You know, this is where I think decorating can go really wrong, is when you try to do something elaborate and don't, how should we say, I'd rather go for simplicity done really well than something a little fancier and what looks like it may be a little bit more formal done poorly. So it's all back to that restraint thing. It's all about understanding value. But I think that I would rather see rings and poles done with a beautiful fabric, interlined and lined and feeling great in the hand, than anything that's got a lot of trims on it and a fancy balance. I hope that answered your question.
Do it well, even if you have to do it simply.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Okay. If you are working with a young client who has no collections, what can you suggest they begin collecting?
Well, what I would like to do is just see their house and have a conversation. And then somewhere in there, you're going to pick up on something or mention something that they're going to respond to. So again, it all goes back to that conversation, Dara, about how to mine through it, everything that they've said, and pull out some thread of something so that you could come back to them with pictures to see what excited them. Okay. Everybody's got something in their own home right now that they don't even know might even be the beginning of another collection. I have my share.
I think you could have been a psychologist or a anthropologist.
Oh no, I'll stick to decorating, thanks.
All right, what is the source for your white basket weave plates?
Oh, the white basket weave came from William and Wayne. And then there's another pattern I have that's Tiffany, the Tiffany Nantucket basket.
I know that one. Okay. What are some of the ways that you encourage a client to make the investment in fine furniture if they don't understand it?
You have to teach them. It's your job. You know, Nina Campbell and I had a great conversation one day about, it was showing a young couple some furniture, and she really just sort of distilled it right there. They were looking at a very expensive modern table, and nothing is wrong with that. Just want to put that out there. But it was expensive and probably not in their budget. And she took them to some shops and showed them some antique furniture with great patina and at a fraction of the price. And so you have to expose people to things, you have to explain, and then in the end, they'll make their own decision. And you know, and sometimes in that decision making, you hit it right. And then sometimes you make a boo-boo, and it's okay. We all make boo-boos. You know, you keep the table for a couple years and then you upgrade, you know, give it to the kids, send it to the country, or, you know, send it to the thrift shop, whatever it is. There are alternatives. I think you just have to do what you're comfortable with. But I think it's our job to educate. But to educate is a very, it's very different. What was that famous quote from Mildred Bliss, who lived at Dumbarton Oaks? Mm-hmm. I think it's actually etched somewhere there. To educate is not to instruct. And there's a fine line. And so you have to find the way to sell it.
Mhm. Right. All right. Last question. What is your favorite flower arrangement combination for fall?
Oh my gosh. The $64,000 question at the very end. Okay. It's not what I'm looking for. It's what I'm going to find. I think that's part of the excitement. Because if I go out looking for something, I may not find it, then I'm going to be disappointed. And then it's going to come out in that arrangement. It's never going to be what I want it to be. So I just sort of let it happen. I am a forager from, the beginning. I love foraging in the woods, and you can find great stuff. I have some huge branches right now sitting in my garage. I had to take a car out to make room for them that have like lichens and moss attached to them.
Beautiful. Okay.
And I can't wait to do my constant spry number with those.
Oh, cool.
So it's really what's out there, it's really what's out there.
It's like grocery shopping, right? You buy what looks the best.
You buy what looks the best and you whip it up and everybody's happy.
All right, someone just asked if this webinar is available to review after, and Annie, it is. Can you just tell us how everyone can get a link to it?
Yeah, an email will be sent around to everyone that registered with the link to view.
Well, Charlotte, you are one of a kind. You're incredible. You're an inspiration. I really enjoyed this today. I feel incredibly grateful to have you here and sharing all your knowledge with us and wisdom. I think wisdom is actually the most important word, because I think you are so wise. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.